Cliche your way through life. Remix. The seeds. Planting the right mindset. Be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. Every tree starts with a seed, and every life starts with a thought. Your mindset is the foundation. It shapes how you see yourself, how you show up, and how you live. Every thought you think is a seed, and seeds don't stay seeds. They grow. They grow into values, truth, and patterns you carry into every part of your life. Most of us have been planting seeds we didn't even choose, inherited from family, religion, survival, and fear. But today, you have the chance to be intentional. Like a tree, you won't see the fruit overnight. Seeds take time, nourishment, and care. The thoughts and values you plant now will shape the freedom and peace you experience later. This section is about planting value-based seeds. Yes, these are sayings you've heard your entire life, but as you already know, they are more than phrases. They are perspective. They are truth. They are freedom. You can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Value, compassion. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. 1 Corinthians 13:4-5. There's a difference between being nice and being loving. One is performative. The other is powerful. This chapter is about the kind of compassion that transforms, not just how we show up for others, but how we show up for ourselves. It's about showing up with emotional maturity, empathy, and grace, even when it's hard. Compassion helps you respond from peace instead of control. It allows you to soften your reaction, extend understanding, and move through conflict without losing yourself. Compassion is what turns vinegar into honey. Compassion shifts the way you speak to others, but more importantly, the way you speak to yourself. How I learned this the hard way. I remember making a few trips to the Apple store, twice for my son's phone and another time for mine. On the surface, it was a small errand, but internally, I had framed it as a test. I have been doing the work. Working on staying calm, managing my reactions, not letting minor inconveniences shift my energy. So before heading out, I prepared myself. I packed, think like a monk. Told myself to breathe through the wait and made a mental note not to let anything disturb my peace. But even as I prepped myself for patience, I had already planted the wrong seeds. I wasn't walking in with compassion. I was walking in with control. I was expecting frustration and telling myself I'd handle it. I entered the store on edge, expecting to be let down. And even though I told myself I wouldn't let anyone mess with my mood, my mindset was already vinegar, tense, guarded, and judgmental. I didn't realize it at the time, but I wasn't just bracing for the experience. I was hardening myself against it. Then I met the employee, and he was nothing like I expected. He greeted me with a smile, listening with patience, and calmly walked me through my options. He wasn't rushing me, brushing me off, or minimizing my concerns. He was present, patient, kind, pure honey. But still, I couldn't fully receive it. I kept waiting for him to switch up, waiting for him to prove my assumptions right. But he didn't. The more compassion he extended, the more I started to soften. The tension I carried in started to ease. By the end of the conversation, something surprising happened. We started talking about books. He asked me for recommendations. It was the perfect opportunity to mention mine, to share my story, to open a door to something meaningful. but I hesitated. I let my earlier defensiveness block the moment. I left without saying a word about my book. And as I walked out the store, I realized something important. I had been so focused on controlling the outcome, on protecting myself from disappointment, that I forgot to lead with compassion for him and for myself. I was so caught up in being prepared that I didn't allow space to connect. I thought I was protecting myself, but really I was withholding love for him and for me. Unconditional love doesn't just wait for others to prove they're safe. It starts with creating safety inside yourself. It's knowing that softening your guard isn't weakness, it's compassion. That moment wasn't just about customer service. It was about whether or not I could let truth lead instead of fear. Compassion isn't just something we give to others. It's something we need to offer ourselves too. Compassion says it's okay to be tense sometimes, but soften when the moment calls for it. Compassion says you can expect good things, not just prepare for the worst. How many times do we miss our moment because we're too busy bracing for something that might not even happen? How often do we close ourselves off before the world even has a chance to show us something beautiful? That day reminded me, the seeds you plant, intentionally or not, shape your experience. And if you want to reap peace, connection, and purpose, you got to plant compassion. Compassion for the people in front of you, compassion for the version of you that's still healing, and compassion for the version of you that's still learning how to show up with softness, even in a world that tries to make you hard. The mirror effect. When you lead with your values, people reflect what you project. If you come into a space with tension, people will meet you with resistance. But if you lead with softness, others will often soften in return. Vinegar. You expect the worst and everything feels like a battle. Honey. You lead with warmth and things unfold with more ease. And this doesn't just apply to customer service. It applies to how you show up in relationships, parenting, friendships, work, and especially how you show up for yourself. Speak to yourself with honey. Let's talk about how you treat you. So many of us speak to ourselves with vinegar, criticism, pressure, guilt, comparison. We tell ourselves we're behind, not good enough, not doing enough. But that energy doesn't help us grow. It keeps us stuck. What if you gave yourself honey instead? What if you started replacing thoughts like I'm failing with I'm figuring it out? I should be further by now with I'm moving at my own pace. I always mess up with I'm learning every day. You wouldn't talk to your best friend like they're a failure. So why do you do it to yourself? When you change your self-talk, you change your mindset. When you lead with compassion internally, it naturally flows outward. Real compassion is rooted in truth. And the truth is, you don't have to earn kindness from yourself. You're already worthy of it. That's what unconditional love looks like. It's not something you wait on. It's something you practice, even when you don't feel like you deserve it. That's how healing starts, not from fixing everything, but from loving yourself anyway. How to shift from vinegar to honey. Compassion isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Here are some ways to practice the value of leading with compassion. 1. Check your energy before you speak or act. Ask yourself, am I leading with frustration or openness? 2. Pause before reacting. Take one breath, one pause, one moment to recenter before responding. 3. Use words that build, not break down. Try shifting from this is a mess to what can we do to move forward? 4. Give people and yourself the benefit of the doubt. Assume good intention. Sometimes people are just doing the best they can, including you. 5, lead with honey, especially when it's hard. That's when it matters most. Love that's real, the kind that reflects God, doesn't require a performance. It invites you to be. That same invitation, you can offer it to yourself. Conclusion. The doors we open or close without realizing. I could have handed him my book. I could have connected, inspired, or even made a new supporter. But I let vinegar block the blessing. The truth is, we miss opportunities every day, not just the big ones, but the small ones. The daily moments where our energy determines whether a door opens or stays shut. Where our energy decides how far a conversation, connection, or opportunity can go. Lead with compassion. Move with intention. Speak with honey. A little R&R. Remix and reflect. Value, compassion. Before you move on, take a moment to sit with what this chapter stirred in you. Remix this truth. Kindness is not weakness. Compassion is not passivity. Leading with softness is a strength, especially in a word that often rewards hardness. Reflect on this. 1, when was the last time you led with vinegar instead of honey? What were you trying to protect? 2, in what area of your life could more compassion create more connection? 3, how can you offer yourself the same softness you offer others? Truth to take with you. You don't have to earn kindness, not from others and not from yourself. You were created from love, so lead with it. Try this. This week, catch yourself mid-thought. If your self-talk turns critical, flip the script. Swap pressure for peace. Swap control for compassion. Choose honey. When honey meets wisdom, honey draws things in, but knowledge gives them direction. That's why understanding why knowledge is power is key to cultivating your mindset.